Marry me, this is Annie. I am posting this video which is going to be, I'm sure, snippets and bits and pieces, particularly because of a video that I watched of AmberFox's, and we found out early on that we shared a love of spheres. Right now on my altar sits Sophia, my crystal ball, and also at this particular time you will see a little bit in the center a Coca-Cola sphere, which I have been using this week, so I thought I would show as they sit on my altar. Also on my altar, which I will show a little bit more in a bit, is a bowl of stones. These are the boxes that my spheres are in. I keep my spheres boxed when I am not using them, so AmberFox, that's a bit different than you, as I know that yours are out on your shelf and you just truly enjoy the beauty of them and can pick them up and handle them at will. So I do work a bit differently than you in that mine reside in boxes when I am not using them for working. When I am working with them, they are on my altar. Now I've separated out, taken away about 4 of these boxes and have them sitting in the middle of my room here, and I'm going to introduce you to a couple of my spheres to give you an idea how I work with them. Okay, so I wanted to share a little bit about how I work with stones and spheres. Truly, I wanted to honor that AmberFox is growing her sphere collection, and I wanted to share a little bit about what I do because it just might be something that's helpful to her. This is my correspondence file for spheres. What I have grown to enjoy over the years is working with the uniform shape of the various spheres that I have. It permits me to appreciate, strangely, as they all are shaped and polished and looking similar at the first glance, it permits me to recognize the differences in them much greater. Every time I purchase a new sphere, I research it in depth. And this is the correspondence book that I have grown over my years of working with the stones. It's called Leaves of Stones. Basically, a list of the spheres I currently have, and then an in-depth correspondence for each sphere. I do keep a Leaves of Stone journal, which is every time I work with a sphere, if there was something to record in how it felt, what the outcome of the spell or the magic was, what the outcome of the meditation was, it goes into a journal. That's a daily journal where I record that. So there is another book that I use for my correspondences for stones. for each of my spheres. I have the sphere itself. All of my spheres, except for my crystal ball, are 2 inches. I have intentionally over the years and sometimes passed up smaller or larger spheres because this is what I like. I really like being able to hold them just like that. To be able to feel that, hold it, and experience it. So for example, here is my red jasper. So I have the sphere. I have a vial of chips. And then I have a small polished, again polished, stone. If I'm not able to find each of these 3 things, then I do assume that for the time being that sphere is not for me. Just a little bit of superstition on my part. Red jasper. I would use red jasper. If I were looking for calming and banking back my own passions, if I'm over exuberant, I tend to get carried away with notions and things and then sometimes bulldoze a bit. So red jasper is really good for calming me down. So I will meditate on it. I will add chips of it to incense or oils that I am making. And I will use it in divination, and I will show you that in a little bit. I also use red jasper regularly because I have lupus and can sometimes have some blood problems, and it is a really good healer, especially in areas of blood. I'm particularly fond of red jasper because I am Libra, and it is the stone of justice and fairness, and I really have a vibration with this. Whenever I hold red jasper, I almost feel a heartbeat of myself and it as a heartbeat together. That's the relationship I hold with it. This is a rutilated quartz. I love rutilated quartz because of you can get lost in it. I love the going into it and bouncing off its divisions, and it always feels like it's taking you in. I'm very fond of it. Quartz is most important to me as a lighten up reminder. It is very present for me, reminding me not to take me or anyone else too seriously. As we work with each of these spheres, we each determine what are the most important meanings that they have for us. And this is great. It's clouding over as I'm holding it. You never know what it's going to do. Oh, that's cute. Anyway, you never know. My point was that we collect correspondences. Wise people put them together, and they are a starting place for us to experience. We then decide what they mean for us. I may have a long, long list of things that quartz means, and it may be something that is similar to other people's relationship to it, and it may not be. Quartz is, of course, known as a master healer. There's no doubt but that it invigorates, and I have found what it does is pull from me and dissipates. Like my crystal ball, rutilated quartz does not hold anything negative. When it takes something and holds it, it disperses it and releases it. Very, very important part of the powers that it has. For me, though, the most important correspondence for quartz has been awakening the inner child in me and a lesson in life not to take things too seriously. I wanted to share my fluorite sphere because AmberFox, I think hers is new, that she shared in her video, so I wanted to specifically bring mind out. These are always so fascinating because they are so different from specimen to specimen. Again, with a long list of correspondences, fluorite has become my great balancer. If it comes up in divination, it is because I am imbalanced or reacting to the imbalance in another or in a situation. And very important power for it to me is its ability to balance. Fluorite is also a stone which shows me the way. And it shows me a way in the sense that I already know the way. I just haven't sat, thought, analyzed, or looked at both sides of something and then allowed myself to come to a decision. So it actually reaches into the personal wisdom inside of me. Sunstone. Don't you just love sunstone? You can't hold sunstone without feeling the spirit of sun, the spirit of renewal, the spirit of warmth. It holds promise, sunstone does. There have been times in my life when sunstone was the most grounding of the stones I was working with. And while that is one of its attributes, it is not the one that is most common. I have found that it is a grounding and centering when I am not in right relationship to my own personal will and to divine will. And that stone will show up in divination with me when I am not in tune to my fire side, to my blade side, to the spirit of my will.